Hi everybody, it's Debbie from the Inspiration Station. Thank you for joining me today. Today I have a video of my year in review for 2022. Yes, I know you're thinking, Debbie, it's only January. But the best way to get something done is to start and plan ahead. I've always wanted to do a year in review by doing monthly review pages, but I always get to the end of the year and I find out that I didn't take photos for, say, the month of September, or I only have one photo from February, so it never seems to work out. But I am a huge fan of Janet Madison over at RTS Scrapbooking, and I want to say maybe 2 years ago she did a series on her YouTube channel about her month in review pages, and I really like the concept. She uses one collection for the whole year, plans everything out, pre-cuts everything, and then she just has to put the pages together and add the photos as the year goes along. Well, I love the idea, but I have never put it into practice. And this year she did another series on her Patreon channel of the same thing, showing her preparations for the next year that she was working on. So I decided to take that to heart, and I had bought the collection, the impleStories Hello Today collection last year with the intention of doing this, and never got around to it. So I bought the collection and the 6x8 pad, and I think the puffy stickers, I had those, but I found that it really wasn't enough. And this collection, I love it, but it's already retired. You can't get it. You can get some bits and pieces on scrapbooking.com, but for the most part, everything is sold out. So what I did was I went to impleStories website, and they have digital downloads that you can purchase. So I was able to purchase the ephemera, and I just had it printed on a laser color copier, and I was able to resize things, which is great because sometimes you want something a little bigger or a little smaller than what the designer intended. So that was great. I just made up sheets of those and fussy cut out everything that I wanted. So I have a whole bunch of embellishments now, and I can keep making more as I go. So that was fabulous. So I was trying to come up with a plan for the pages. Janet recommends choosing a sketch. And so I went through and I found a sketch that I liked. But in the meantime, there's a YouTube creator, Nicole Bingham. I think it's Bingaman, maybe. She goes by Coley Bing anyway. And she did month in review pages using the same collection. And I absolutely loved what she did with it, the layout that she used. The only problem was she takes a lot more photos than I do. So she made photo collages with 18 to 20 photos on them, and maybe even more some months. And they were all little, like maybe 2x2 squares. It looked great, but I don't take that many photos. I'm an empty nester. I don't have, a lot of activities that I take pictures of, so that wasn't going to work for me. Also, she did, if she had less pictures in the month, she did a single page layout, and if she had more, she did a double. Well, I want every month to be a double page, so I went looking for a sketch. And the sketch I found was from Page Maps, and it was, I believe, May 2019. And I really liked the way that it worked, but it didn't have enough spaces for me. So I mocked up this. This is my own sketch of it, using Nicole's method. She had used a notebook punch on the month card and on the calendar card and put them across the top. And then she added her photo collages in the middle. So I used the placement of the photos from the original sketch instead. Added some extra paper, added room for journaling. So this is what I came up with for my monthly sketch. And it's worked out really well. I will say, however, that you do need more than just a collection pack to do this. The collection pack gave me the start, but because I added in so much paper, I have this big band of 4.5 by 11 going across both pages, I didn't have enough paper. Nicole, like I said, had put her collages in there, so she was able to get it done without adding a lot of extra paper. I couldn't do that. So I did bring in some paper from other lines, and I'll detail those as I go along. So I started my page. This cut file here with the 2022 and the stars, was a free file that Paige Evans gave out. A Year in Review is one that I purchased from an Australian company, Pear Tree Cut Files, I think it's called. I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up. I'll add those details in the comments below. But I welded those two together to make my title page. And then I used scraps of all the papers that I had used throughout the album into the stars to back the file with, and some vellum for the title. So my title page is done. Very excited. Then I moved on to making my monthly pages. And as you can see, I hope there's not too much glare from the mat that it's on, my January page is almost complete. I used the setup that Nicole did using the month cards here and here and the notebook punch. And then I used the sketch for the rest of it. So I brought in a 4.5 by 11 piece of paper here. This is going to stay constant throughout my album. I punched all of these borders out of the same yellow paper from impleStories so that there is something absolutely the same on every page. The layout is going to be the same. Obviously, the embellishments will be different and the photos will be different. But the one thing that will tie it all together is this punch border, which is, it's a Martha Stewart punch from years ago. The paper that I brought in here is impleStories, but it's not from this line. It came from another line. And I can't off the top of my head think of what it was, but it matched, so it worked out really well. So I've added my photos on here. I still have some embellishing to do. I followed Nicole's example of using a heart stamp on the important days, in this case, my daughter's birthday. And then down here, I will add my journaling. I haven't done that yet. So I have all the journaling cards clipped to the page for each month. So it's all ready to go. So January is just about done. And then I move on to February. Now, because there's no photos or anything on here, it may look a little plain, but you'll see that the format is exactly the same. My month card, a 3x4 card, the journal card with the label, and the month 3x4. Then I have the paper strips are the same. My border is the same. I'm going to put my journaling down here. And I had a couple of options for journaling cards. I don't know which one I'm going to use, so I'm just going to keep those clipped together. I also used a die from My Favorite Things. I didn't show that on this page, but I took a scrap of paper. It was actually the branding strip, and I cut this little scallop border out just to fill in over there, just to bring some more color in to the page. So there's February. March I really liked. Of course, it has the wood grain paper, and if you know me, you know I love wood grain. Again, same format. The month cards, the journaling card, a 3x4 card, my border, and then I have a couple of different cards here that I could use for journaling. Then we go into April. April was actually the first month I did. I did my mock-up using April papers. I'm not sure why, it just happened to work out that way. So this was the first one that I did. Again, using all the same elements. I did mix the cards from different pages. I didn't necessarily use, like this didn't necessarily come from the April sheet. It may have come from August for all I know. Again, multiple cards here that I can choose. These came from, see you rounded corners, you can tell these were Project Life cards from previous kits, but the colors worked really well with this line. So I did go through my stash and find some other things, mostly the cards, to add on. Because again, you're going to need to add more paper than just the collection. I love the way May came out. That one, it's just bright and cheery. This paper in the middle came from a paper pad. I think it was the same paper pad that this one came from, which was a hot buy pad from either Michael's or Joann's. Then we have June. Same idea. I used this paper came from that other hot buy pad. It was just, it reminded me of water and sunshine and all that. So put that together. Try and move these. The base of these is actually just a plain white smooth cardstock that I get from the Paper Cut. It's their Cougar paper, 110 pound. I absolutely love it. It's super sturdy. It's pure white, very smooth. It's a great paper to use. Here's July. July was interesting because in the United States, obviously July, we think of 4th of July, and so red, white, and blue. And there was no blue in this collection. There's no true blue. I mean, there's this minty teal color, which is beautiful, but there's no red, white, and blue. So I found that a little interesting. Oh, I'm missing a paper clip here on this one. So I just worked with what I had. I thought rainbows and the little beach ball looking things, you know, that works for summertime. It's nice and bright. For August, this was the one paper I really didn't like in the line. Sorry, Simple Stories, just not my thing. I did not like that, but it's part of the card. That was the card I needed to use. I ended up bringing in, this was their cardstock, their Color Vibe cardstock, as was on July. This paper down here is an old Teresa Collins line, but it worked perfectly with the colors, so I brought that in. September, this one was hard. I did not have anything, Simple Stories, that matched. This paper and this paper actually came from Cartabella. It's from their Sunflower Market collection, and it worked perfectly. The red is right. We've got the I don't know what you call that, teal or mint green here that matches. It just worked out really well. And of course, sunflowers in the fall, September, that's, you know, it works out really well. So that one I liked. October is very, very light. We're used to black and orange and purple for October, but there really wasn't anything in the darker colors. The cards, this was the collection pack, obviously, had orange and mint. It's a beautiful combination and had a little bit of pink to it. So I ended up bringing in pink from the 6x8 pad, and this is their Color Vibe in warm white. I did want to try and bring in more pink because we had a little bit in there, so I think the journaling card is going to end up doing that. We'll see. This is the only page I'm not 100% thrilled with. I don't like this pattern paper that I used. It came from a paper pad. It matched the colors and everything. This is probably going to get pulled up and replaced as I find something that works better. I just think it's a little too busy. However, once I put the photos on, it's really going to tone it down. I don't think it's going to be as big of a problem as it is right now. These are my little cards that I used for my mock-up for the sizes. I ended up changing these 2.5 by 3, which was what the sketch called for. I actually made them a little bit smaller so that I could fit 4 across. But you see, once I put the photos on, it's going to drown out a lot of that busyness. So it may be okay in the end, but it's not my favorite page. So we'll see. I'm sure there'll be plenty of fall paper out that I will end up loving. Okay, and here's December, which has your traditional red and green, but it also had the blue. And of course, I'm using this yellow stripe throughout, and I was like, what am I going to do to bring yellow into this? But one of the cut apart cards was this. Let me see, I can pull it up, maybe. Yeah, I cut it down and cut it in half. It was the green, yellow, and red. So that brought the yellow up from down here. So I was very happy with that. The paper that was supposed to be the background was actually this paper. And again, very busy for my style. So I used the green Color Play. And then this was from another line. I don't even remember what it was, but it was, you know, paper that I had, probably another one of those value packs. So it ended up working out really well. So now I have to reorganize all these, put it all back together. But there is my year in review. I will put links below to Janet's page, to her YouTube page. She's also on Patreon. You want to look up RTS Scrapbooking. And Nicole's page, I believe it's Coley Bing, COLIEBING, on YouTube. And you can see the originals that I used for my inspiration. If you have any questions, leave them below. I hope you enjoyed this. Please let me know what you think. My next video hopefully will be a process video. I really haven't had time to sit down and do it between the holidays and travel, and then I got COVID, and now I'm dealing with a head cold, so if I sound a little stuffy, that's why. But I hope to get back to the process videos. In the meantime, enjoy this, and leave me a comment below, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. I certainly enjoy hearing comments from everyone. And until the next time, enjoy your crafting. Bye.